You wanted the best, you got the best, kick it. Right, Pooh? Hey, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. We're going to do the top 5 toy line with a strong focus on action figures of the 1970s. Way back then. Probably way before many of you were born, or maybe it was the era that you were born. 1970s, great time for movie. 2 franchises that I wish had toy lines way back then. Jaws, although Jaws was seen like more of a late teen kind of adult scary movie, so I get it why they didn't manufacture toys for kids. Jaws has some things, of course, recently out that's really cool. And Rocky. Of course, Rocky has, again, recent toys that have come out, but at the time, if they would have came out with a Rocky Balboa and Apollo Creed figure, you could kind of, whatever that is, that would have been fun. That would have been good times. Top 5 list, honorable mentions before I get into the top 5. One being Evil Knievel. I used to have the Evil Knievel figure and his little vehicles. You do that crank and then they'd go off. I believe a toy line or a company came out with that recently. But I love the original Evil Knievel dudes. Something I sold years ago, unfortunately. And the superheroes. The Mego superheroes, my favorite were Thor and Black Falcon I owned. I used to love those guys. I had at one point Joker, Penguin, Sandman, Flash, Spider-Man, Batman, Robin, a lot of them, and I wish I would have kept them. That is a big regret of mine also, when I was pretty broke for a while, and I was selling them on eBay just to get some grocery money. Boy, if I can go back and get my superhero figures, I can. I would just have to pay lots of eBay prices. So, number 5, we have a tie. 1978 Battlestar Galactica figures and 1979 Buck Rogers figures. I've just recently begun to collect them. I never really had them, I don't think, when I was a kid. Probably was action figured out with other ones that have made this top 5 list. So my parents obviously didn't want me spending all my little allowance or their wages on my toys. So I didn't really get any Buck Rogers or Battlestar Galactica. These are, like I said, 2 toy lines that now I'm actively seeking. I'll give you some close-up shots here. So I can see I only own Cylon and Commander Dama from Battlestar Galactica. I would like to get a few more for sure of that. And then I own Wilma and Twiggy. And of course this nice Tiger Man that I bought that was already kind of sealed for me there. I got it for I think $80 I think on eBay, which is a lot, but since it's already sealed and graded, I figured that would be kind of cool to get. You can see there's nothing great about them. They're not totally detailed or anything, and they are little. But for the 70s, I think it was pretty cool, and I'm glad to have them now, finally, as part of my little toy collection. Now, number 4, from probably my favorite sitcom of all time, came out in 1975, 1976, ran for 4 seasons. Amigo, of course, jumped on the toy line shortly after, and Welcome Back, Kotter. I don't know if it's the iconic shots of opening of like New York City in the 70s and people hanging out. Of course, I grew up outside of Chicago, but still that big city kind of feel to it. I don't know if it's just a play off of the characters and kind of like, you know, playing around in school and having a good time. I don't know what it was that appealed to me, but I just love watching that show over and over and over. Now, again, these weren't toys that I had as a kid. I didn't get this toy line. I did have friends that had a few of them, but these were acquired just a few years ago on eBay. And I do like that they come with a Freddy Boom Boom has basketball, Mr. Kotter has a briefcase there, the accessories. Overall, the details look really, really good on them. I really like how they look. And just for me, looking at these figures just reminds me of just watching that show and just having a good time. I still enjoy watching that show. One of my favorite movies is 1968's Planet of the Apes. Of course, they came out with a pretty cool TV show in 1974, and that's when Amigo kind of jumped on these to have the Planet of the Apes action figures came out, I believe, 74 and 75. I do have some on the wall, which I'll show you in some close-ups, but I wanted to take down probably my favorite too, the gorilla slash kind of ape soldiers. I really always liked them. Again, these are another toy line that I didn't have back in the day that I recently acquired from eBay, but I did have friends that had these, and I remember this one kid, we had a little sand pit in his backyard. We would kind of play with them in the old sand pit and have a great time. This was when you immediately ran home from the store, opened up all the packaging, and just beat the hell out of your figures. I lived in a house that had an addition up top, and I would run a string from the top floor all the way downstairs, and if my G.I. Joe or any of my action figures, I can kind of curve their hand and kind of swing them on that string, and then when they would crash, I'd put fake blood on their head. Obviously, the idea of collecting toys and stuff like that wasn't really a thing. You just brought these toys home and beat the living hell out of them, had a great time. Number 2 should be no surprise for those of you out there that know me. Kiss. Now they say 1977, Mego made in Hong Kong. Man, was Mego on everything. But I believe they officially came out in 1978. They feature kind of the Love Gun era costumes. I read that originally the first few lines came out kind of in a skinny figure, and then they made the guys a little more stronger. These guys look a little buff, so I got one of the later releases of these 4 figures. I think they only produced them maybe for a year or two. Word is that Peter Criss back here was made in a smaller quantity than the other 3 because it was kind of leaked from the camp that he was on his way out of the band. These I remember. This is why toy collecting, action figure collecting can be really, really fun, is when it takes you back. Because I do remember being a kid in Dispense's toy store, which I have the little tag on this original box that I've kept. One of the few boxes that I kept, probably because it has cool packaging and their instruments and a picture of the band on it. But for $3.88 you can get a figure. Now in today's calculated, that would be about $16.20. So today, if you had a cool action figure of a popular rock band, or I guess today would be a pop star or hip hop band, $16 for a 12-inch figure, that's not too bad at all. So it would be nice $3.88 way back then though. But that's how it takes me back, because I do remember this toy store. I remember they had a little playground slash little roller coaster outside the toy store. It looked like a castle. I remember walking down the aisle looking for Kiss figures and pleading with my parents, please buy me the Kiss figures. I think I got I don't think I got all 4 at once. We weren't crazy rich. You can't throw out a $3.88 every time you go to the toy store like 4 times, you know. So we did space it out. So I probably got 2 figures one day, and then weeks later got the other 2 or something like that. But I do remember having a friend, Kurt, in early grade school, and we would play with these in his room and just come up with crazy stories for the 4 guys. And it was just, if you were a kid in the 70s when Kiss came out, it was more than just a rock band. They were superheroes. They were like aliens to this earth. It was just so much. And then the Phantom of the Park movie came out, and it just more and more, it just changed everything. It's hard to compare with any of the bands today, because even though groups have videos and some groups have clothing lines and this and that, it's just, since it was so commercialized for a like hard rock band that was a little scary and edgy, just to come across and be on talk shows and just totally saturate all forms of media, it was a phenomenon. And oddly enough, in a week I'm going to go see Kiss. So they're still around, I'm still around, they're still around. How is this happening? So by now you know that the folks at Mego were geniuses. However, they did pass up the opportunity to produce the #1 toy line. Not only my opinion, probably everyone watching this, from the 1970s. The movie came out in 1977, a little space film, and the toys I believe came out first in 1978. Kotter jumped on it, produced the toys. You had to wait till after, a little while. I think on Christmas of '77 is when you had the list, and then you had to like mail away or something. The big story about it. Of course, Star Wars. And these were toys that even though I remember Kiss very well being in that toy aisle, I don't remember purchasing original Star Wars toys, although I know I did. This, matter of fact, is my own original R2-D2 that I will never sell ever, 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 ever. It's not even worth that much anyway, but anyway, I've bought a few more R2s since then, and bought a few more of the original toy lines. But I remember Luke having his little lightsaber, pushing it out of his arm, or playing with them. I remember my friend lived a few houses over, he had the ships. He had the X-Wing fighter and a few of the other ships, and we'd put them in there and just throw them around. Man, like I said, we beat the hell out of these toys. And our two survived. A few others survived from my childhood. But since then, I have purchased other in the toy line. And it's just, Star Wars is one of those franchises that it's just, it will never die. But there's nothing that compares to that original toy line and, of course, the original Star Wars movie. A perfect way to end the 70s for any kid was to get as many Star Wars toys as you could. Well, there you have it, the top 5. Be sure to leave me in the comments below what you feel like are the top 5 toy lines / action figures from the 1970s. But thanks for watching.